Hi everyone, welcome to another episode. In this one, we're going to be reviewing the Rings of Power episode 6 called Udun. Um, I thought it was a good episode. Sean might have other thoughts. But before we kick off with our thoughts, let's just review what happened in the episode. So we start off with Ada planting some sort of seed. Ada planting seeds. And he leads his army. He says a little rousing speech, and he leads his army to that high tower or the tower. And they get there and it's empty. But little do they know that Arondir is hiding in the side, and he lays a trap for them. Yeah, and he happens to kill a lot of them, which is quite a good trap. Let's be honest.
It kind of reminds me of the bit in Star Wars where General Akbar turns around and it's like, it's a trap, and then everyone's trying to run out.
Yeah. He kills a lot of them, then it pans to Bronwyn and the 50% of the town that had stayed. And they're leaving to go back to their town, their village. It then pans away to Isildur, who's sharing saliva with a horse. That was the grossest scene, that apple eating scene. I don't know why I found it so gross. Or maybe it's normal finding it gross because I was like, dude, what are you doing, man? Just give him his own apple.
I'm just trying to think back. Did he actually? He gave it to the horse right first, and then
no. He took a bite out of it, then gave the horse a bite, and then he took a bite out of it. I don't know whether he turned the apple enough. But I was like, oh, you pray, there's going to be slumber all over.
I mean, the horse's mouth is obviously quite. Anyway,
yeah. Yeah. Then he meets Galadriel, and they have a little chit chat. Not about really anything that important, but they have a chit chat nonetheless. It goes back to Arondir, who is back in the town with the rest of the townsfolk. With Bronwyn, and he's got the hilt, and you see him trying to break a magical sword with a normal human hammer, and he's a mallet almost, and he's confused. He's like, oh, our ways aren't working here. I was like, bro, that's not a normal sword.
But you're not human. Like this, I said this in the previous episode, and it's like, he must be in the adolescence of his elf years, because surely you would know that it's not, like you said, it's not a normal sword, right? It's just, you'd need some sort of magical or enchanted device. The stupidity is beyond us. It is just like, and the hammer breaks, and he's surprised, and it's like, well,
he's like, oh my god, what happened here? Oh my god, but this hammer, I've used this hammer to hammer in so many nails. Why isn't it working on a sword? It's really weird. The town is basically getting ready for battle rather than fleeing from town to town.
Yeah,
which is good to see.
I'm still confused why they chose a town. Well, first of all, I'm confused why the town was burnt down by the orcs. Maybe they're not.
I don't think they came that way. They didn't come that way. No, did they come that way?
They did. Yeah, because that's the town where Theo ran away from one of the orcs.
Oh,
they come out of the ground and whatever. That's why that's why you see the scene of them blocking the thing. But it's like, I don't know if these orcs are probably not arsonists. They probably don't like burning things down. They're just like they're rummaging.
We might want to live in here later. So let's just leave it for now. Let's kill the people and come back.
We'll put our sympathizers in here. Yeah, I didn't understand why they left the keep. That it's on a mountain. It's a high defense point. Let's just
destroy it. I think that's probably, they thought, these townspeople, they're not really warriors. The best way to kill them, a lot of them in one fell swoop, would be the rocks, massive rocks, just tumbling down on them. I suppose
you would think that if because you have to kind of wind your way up, you'd push some sort of. But you'd make some sort of barricade on the mountain to kind of take out the. I don't know.
I think the tower took out the people that were in there because he locked them in, and then the rest of the tower fell on all the people that were coming up the orcs that were coming up the winded steps. Yeah. So it did sort of kill a lot of them. Anyway, they're getting ready for battle. The orcs, some of them are killed, and then some of them are coming down into the town. The town's like getting ready. And I found this really funny bit where Bronwyn, one of the plans was to light the cart, which has been doused in oil or some sort of flammable liquid. To then push the flammable cart into the orcs, which would kill them. And Bronwyn was with a villager, who I found was the most useless villager, because she didn't. There's a point where the orc came and is attacking Bronwyn, or they're fighting, and she didn't choose to fight as well, or she didn't choose to run or cower. She chose to just stand there with her throat exposed. I was like, as soon as I saw her on the screen hiding behind the cart with Bronn, I was like, yeah, she's gonna die. They showed her face. They showed us her face to let us know she's gonna die. That's the only reason, because otherwise she's useless. We then see another really clever moment from Arondir, where he decides to fight a beast of an orc without any weapons, just hand-to-hand combat from a tank, with a tank, basically.
It's kind of... It makes you think, because, like, if you look at Legolas, he does all right without a sword. I mean, I'm not saying that Legolas...
No. He still has weapons. Maybe I'm wrong, but I can't remember in the Peter Jackson movies where he's fought an enemy without any sort of weapon. He's had a weapon.
No, he's always had his bow and arrow, or his. I think in The Hobbit he's got the swords.
He's got the swords. Yeah. Well, this guy is just like, okay.
Let me get a piece of flint.
I'm going to stab him with it, and then okay, that flint's now useless. He's just stuck in the. We'll just take it out and start. That was hilarious, but he gets saved by Bronwyn, by Bronwyn as well.
That scene though, where he pulls the splint out and it's like the blood and
blood's coming out. I thought that was going to be like, I can't remember what. It might be the Evil Dead, but I can't remember exactly what it is. But it's where like if it's like evil blood, and if you sort of you turn evil as well, you get corrupted. But I thought it was going to be one of those scenes. I was like, oh my god, are we going to see this elf get corrupted? Is that how Adar was? But anyway, we then see the battle's won, the villagers cheer, they take off the helmets of the orcs that they killed, and they realise that they're not orcs, they're human beings. Because clearly it's indistinguishable to tell the difference between orcs and humans.
I think in their, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think in their case, a lot of them were wearing helmets. But the screaming element, I'll give you that.
Yeah, because either orcs are like, or they're like, they're like, the humans don't talk like that. So it would have been like, hey Bob, it's me. Stop fighting me. Hey Bob, I just come from over there. They stand and say, don't kill us.
Surely the blood element, because orcs have like a blackish kind of. So when you stab someone, when you immediately see,
oh, hang on, this is red.
Red, yeah. I know it's dark.
Hey guys, I think we might have. Hey, time out. Something's happened here, which was kind of jokes. But anyway, so they realise they've killed 50% of the town that actually went with Waldreg, and Adar comes down with the actual orcs.
Yeah.
And the villagers lock themselves in the tavern. Adar breaks in, and they're about to put them all to the sword. And
before that, we see the classic scene where Bronwyn gets shot by an arrow.
Yeah.
And their reaction time is quality because it's so slow. They spend I think that scene is a good 4 or 5 minutes where they basically like, what do we do? She's dying, and obviously the elf, who's been around for a lot longer than anyone, doesn't know what to do. But he's like, she's the one that's like, you're gonna have to cauterize the wound.
Yeah.
But they pull the fucking arrow out before they've even got to heat anything up. So they pull it, he snaps it, pulls it out, and he's like, go get the firewood. And he's like, but you surely.
I thought it was hilarious. Go get that. And they focused on her bleeding for a good 30. The camera was pan to her bleeding for a good 30 seconds. Just like, hey, is anyone not going to do anything about it?
And it's like, why would you get your son? Like, the elf, you're such a useless elf. Like, why wouldn't you do it? Because you kind of know what you need to do.
I also think, you know what? I think about that scene again. I also think the way he took the arrow out, it's going to sound like nitpicking. But when you see in like other movies or TV shows where someone's had an arrow or whatever, or like been stabbed by something, and they take it out like that. Yeah. I swear he took it out like this, like that, twisting it. I was like, oh, whoa. Just take it out straight like that. Just make it a quick movement.
I'll have to rewatch that. Actually, I didn't realize. I mean, you're opening the wound even more by doing
that. Yeah,
that.
that's what I was like. What's he doing? What's he doing? But maybe I was overthinking it. We then get a thing I really liked is where we see the merging of the stories, where Numenor and Galadriel have reached land and have reached the town and come to the aid of the villagers and save them from being slaughtered by Adar and the rest of his orcs.
Just in time.
We see an amazing fight scene. Well, I thought it was an amazing fight scene. We see Galadriel do some sort of matrix moves, dodging arrows. Yeah. I think I remember Legolas doing this in Lord of the Rings. He was standing there. And the horse comes up, and he kind of like goes around the head of the horse.
Yeah, he's the more. He does do that.
So we know they've been trained in horse gymnastics. So we know that.
Legolas he jumps on people and takes people off horses and stuff. But I found it really weird that the Numenorians took 2 episodes to leave Numenor, and then within 1 episode they're just like, we're here now, we're gonna save everyone. Pacing. Yeah, pacing.
Adar realizes he needs to leave. He takes the hilt of the sword which he took from Theo, I think it was, and Galadriel gives chase. Then Halbrand takes out Adar. Takes out Adar by
we're treated to a
tripping up a horse.
Yeah, we're treated to a lovely waste of frames where we see the horse is fine.
Yeah.
No animals were hurt.
No animals are hurt. So Adar is basically taken prisoner. He's kidnapped, and we see a scene between Galadriel and Adar where they're talking about him and who he is and what he is. And she initially talked about they were kidnapped elves when they were children by Morgoth, and they were called Moriandors, which sounds very similar to Mordor. So we're treated to that. And then we told that he prefers the name Uruk, which are the first.
Which is where Uruk-hai comes from.
Which is where the term Uruk-hai comes from. Yeah. She wants to know where Sauron is, and he says he's killed Sauron.
Yeah, which is a bit of a weird one. I thought we weren't going to see a Feisty Galadriel actually, but then that scene, she really is just like throws her toys out of the pram to be like.
She goes very dark.
Where is he?
Very prejudicial, very nasty. Very like you're an aberration. You're of what we're supposed. You make a mockery of what we are, kind of thing. That's.
But it's kind of. She kind of crosses a line here, which I don't quite understand. Is that, and it's quite dark when she says, "Oh, we'll just torture your orcs." Then it's like, but you're an elf.
I won't kill you. I'll leave you last and tell you that I killed him.
And that's really dark. Like for anything, any whether you follow the law or not. That's really dark to be like, you're really gonna torture this person.
Yeah.
But it's almost as if she's evil herself, like she's becoming Sauron. Yeah. I mean, she's not going to. We know that, but I hope they don't fucking do that. But
can you imagine if they do? Galadriel's the new Sauron.
Oh mate, I'll just cancel my net. I'll just cancel my Prime.
The backlash this show would get. But anyway, Halbrand comes to. Take Galadriel's aid, but he stops her from killing him. The same way when Halbrand put Adar to the sword and was about to kill him, Galadriel came in and stopped him. The thing is, Halbrand stopped Galadriel to save her from doing something bad. Galadriel stopped Halbrand because she said, "We need him alive." It wasn't about saving Halbrand from doing something bad. Like, no, we need him. But otherwise, I'd agree with.
What it is obviously this Galadriel that we're seeing, she has her own agenda and she gives zero fucks about anyone caught up in the middle of it. She doesn't care about anything. I've never seen a character so determined to catch their prey. And also, this is the first time that we hear about the Rings of Power, even though we're 6 episodes in. This is the first time that Adar talks about it, because he talks about, I think he says a line where it's Sauron's not. He tried to conquer flesh or rule flesh, but then you realize that that's not the way. You need to rule over flesh.
Yeah.
So that's why they go in to find like the dark arts. I mean, it's more like he's more using dark magic to try and gain that control. And in the element of it, it's his own unbinding.
Adar gets pissed off and says, "Now I'm going to kill you. You're taking a nick in it." So that's essentially that battle's won. The town decides, we need a feast. Let's have a feast before we start repairing everything.
There is one scene in between while they're having the feast, and I thought it was funny. I just genuinely thought it was the most funniest, stupidest piece of dialogue we're treated to ever. Is Isildur's talking to his friends, because the Queen Regent's sitting up on a hill during the battle. She doesn't send anyone. She goes to Isildur. You go.
That was funny. Funny. I don't know if we were ever treated to a conversation between the Queen Regent and Isildur, and Isildur stating that I want to go into battle. There's no way she's had any indication of that. But somehow by looking into his eyes, you want to go fight? You want to go fight? Okay.
He looks at the guy who's almost making out with food with a horse to be like, you go, you go. But no, the scene I'm talking about is when he's talking to his friends, and I can't remember. I don't even care. But one of his friends is actually quite a good warrior. The one with the Samoan looking one.
Yeah.
But the other one, he's like, I've seen enough battle to last me a lifetime. And it's like, but you were training in the last episode. You've had one battle where an orc kind of falls on top of you, and you can't even kill him. He
was bad. I think what it was is I think there's a difference between training and actually being in battle. And I think 100%. At that point of when he was in battle, he realized I'm not cut out for this. I'm better at rebuilding than I am at killing warriors.
But surely you would know that. Like you've traveled halfway across a sea, ridden a day's ride, got into like a measly sword fight not measly, but you got into a fight, and then you were like, I'm done. But yet they're taking the piss out of Isildur for like actually trying something, not succeeding at it, and being like, I thought that scene was comical.
It was.
The comedy gets better as you're about to explain.
So the town has a feast, and Halbrand. The Queen Regent initially puts Halbrand on the spot, saying, "Look, this might be. There might be someone that can take the burden off of Bronwyn." Bronwyn looks at Halbrand and is like, "You're the king that we've been waiting for." And Halbrand takes a good 30 seconds and looks around everywhere before replying yes. Just a one-word answer, yes.
It's the first question he answers, the first direct question that he answers in the entire 6 episodes we've seen.
Because he doesn't like answering questions.
Adar asked him, didn't say anything, walked away. Galadriel's asked him loads of times, and he's just like, see you later.
Yeah. So that was quite funny because he generally doesn't look like he wants to do it. He's like he's forced in this position, which is quite funny. But the actual comical moment is when Arondir, the ever so clever and smart Arondir, is given the hilt, and he decides to give the hilt to Theo, and says, "Give this to Numenor. You feel guilty about how you handled everything so far. Hand this to the Numenorians on their way back home." And firstly, he's given a kid who's suffered from this hilt the one thing he shouldn't have anywhere near him. And secondly, it's like I remember you saying before, it's like basically giving recovering.
That's what I was going to say. It's like he says it like, I feel lost without it, and instead of being like it's evil, like we'll help you, we'll find a way. It's like in the Game of Thrones bit when she calls him into Alicent calls the knight in, and he's like, I did it. And so he's literally like, here you go, I've given you the sword back. Go off and play in the hills with it. And it's like, why would you do that? Why would you give someone
It was idiotic. It's the last person you need to give it to. You need to give it to Numenorians yourself. But the actual comical moment is where Theo opens...
Cock-up and the comical moment.
Cock-up and comical moment. Both put together as a cockable comic. Cockicle. Is where he opens the the cloth, and he realizes that, or he looks at it, and it's not the hilt, but dealt to a little switcheroo moment. It's actually a hammer. The comical moment is, how has Arondir not noticed from holding the hilt, because he's held it, he's wrapped the hilt, so he's held the wrapped hilt, and he's also held the hammer, so he knows what each one feels like in terms of the size, the weight, and the grip. But in this moment, he's not curious at all.
It's so stupid.
And why
I can understand Galadriel.
No, I can't.
I can, because the thing is, she doesn't. So I can't believe I'm sticking up for her, but she won't know. She's stupid for not opening it. Number one, I agree with you. She's stupid for not opening it, because they say, "Oh, he's got something." So
Arondir says he's got something he shouldn't have. So the first thing when you grab the sandwich,
it's not a sandwich. He doesn't run off with his lunch. He doesn't run off with,
he's a vegetarian. He's got a ham sandwich. Take it off him.
It's not lammas bread.
Yeah,
like he's not right. It's. So I can understand why she didn't open it. Well, she's stupid for not opening. Sorry, number one. I can understand she may not have opened it, so she's giving it back to Arondir to be like, whatever. In that moment, you would tell the weight, it looks a bit different. The hilt, they show it to be quite big.
Yeah, it's not small. And it's definitely nothing like a hammer with a wooden hammer.
And then you give it back to the one person who can probably do the most damage with it. And all the more reason he's like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Idiotic moment. But we're down to the switcheroo moment where Waldrig actually has the hilt, who then activates the little lightsaber and plunges it into the stone. Back near the tower.
The sword in the moment is sword in the stone kind of thing. I found that a bit stupid, actually, because the depiction on the wall. So in the last episode where he's like, aha, it's like, obviously the sword goes into that stone. But I thought it would have been better if he had gone somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I just didn't think that if you know that there's a mural on the wall and you've got a keystone, surely you'd try and like mess up the key. I don't know. It was a weird scene, but we do see him do the Excalibur moment.
Yeah, he plunges it in, and it's nothing evil. It's essentially just a switch for a dam. It's just it's just a sign for, if you want to open the dam, just put the key in here. That's what the sign is. But instead of actually writing it, this is what it does. There's an ominous statue with a sword in there. That's what it is, just a key for a dam. Anyway, the dam opens, lets all the water through, and we figure out, we're shown what the tunnels were being dug for.
The trenches, the tunnels.
The trenches that we're doing is to funnel the water to this mountain that had lava inside. The steam creating all that pressure creates the volcano.
I'm sure that's Mount Doom, isn't it?
And that is what what I'm assuming as well. At the same time, we're shown the creation of Mount Doom. That volcano, the whole town, basically, essentially, was becoming just.
I was thinking about this, and I was like, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but for $1 billion show, surely they would have figured out that a dam hasn't got enough water. The steam element from the dam isn't enough water to activate a volcano of that size, unless there's more behind it that we just haven't seen.
Maybe it was a tipping point.
Maybe I don't know.
I think that's more of what it was. It was that tipping point, and then that much steam would do it. It decimates the town. Adar has left. He somehow got out of his shackles. I don't know how, but he's got out of his shackles.
It's kind of weird because he was lying down.
He was lying face down onto the wood. I was like, what's he doing? I was thinking of like loads of things in my brain. Is the lava going to come up from underneath, blast the wood? He's going to go flying up in the air, and then he's going to do like a somersault and then go off somewhere. I was all sorts of thoughts to come. What is
it's going to be like a Titanic scene. He's going to be lying on that flip of wood.
It's going to be floating through the lava. Or has he just given up and he's like, if I want to die, I'm just going to make it really quick. The lava's going to hit my face first.
I don't know. I think he was trying to listen to the water element. I think obviously that's what he set out to do. So he wanted to listen to the water element flow under the town.
If anything, he should have been focusing on getting out of the shackles. But obviously, he was good enough.
Somehow he did it lying down when he couldn't do it sitting up. So it's like,
it was a David Blaine moment. And whilst the town is fleeing, Galadriel is she's in shock and horror and just stands there in utter.
It's kind of like in this moment she knew she fucked up. It's like one of those ones. Yeah. It's our second. We were gifted in this episode with 2 slow motion bits of Galadriel. This is the second bit where it's like a Dante's Peak, deep impact kind of moment where it's quite cinematic actually. It's quite nice.
But you can't do anything, and you just stand there to accept your fate.
Yeah. Because you didn't open
don't try and help. Don't try and help villagers or anything. Just stand there.
No. She's a woman on her own. She doesn't give a fuck about anyone. She's just like.
But yeah, I think in that moment she realized, oh my god, I should have checked what was in that cloth. I don't know what happened there. And Arender's probably thinking. Arender's probably thinking because he at the moment doesn't know that the hilt is actually the hammer. Probably thinking, did I give Theo the hilt, or did I give? You know what? It felt a bit different.
But in your mind, he'd probably be thinking, "Shit, maybe Theo did that."
I told Theo to give it to the Davidorians, but did he go back up and put the sword in? Yeah. So, pros and cons.
The pro, I would say, the only pro I have on here is that they concentrated on one storyline. Mm-hmm. Sorry, there were 2 elements of it, but they concentrated on one storyline. That was nice because I know I said that they wasted frames on, and forget all that for a second. It was just nice that they concentrated on the main story and they just went with it. The fighting was quite decent in it. There were some really gory moments where the orcs are slowly pushing blades into people.
That was hilarious. That was hilarious. I was like, why aren't you running away? It's so weird.
Well, they're trapped in the little tavern, isn't it? But that's pretty much.
You know what? Me and you have the same pro. The storylines were merged, which means we got to see a bit more fleshed out, and the battle scenes were good as well. You can't knock the battle scenes. Some of the fighting choreography was really good. What was your
the other thing I will say, it's a pro.
Oh wow, we're getting another pro.
No, but it's a pro for. There's 2 sides of the coin to this one, so it's a pro and con. But for someone who doesn't know the lore, as a TV show, this is very good. Like a lot of people are commending it for what it is, and they're actually looking at it. For people who know the lore, we're just shitting on it because we're not getting used to the idea that they've made changes and they've made changes in a way that it shits on history. So it's a pro in the sense that yes, they're making a good TV show for people who aren't aware of, they may not have read Tolkien's books or whatever. So in a good way, they're doing something that way. But the con is that
the people who know the lore and are really
I'll just
but what was your was that your con or did you have because my one con would be that in this episode is that Arondir is an idiot. I thought as a character for an elf, like
he's a stupid elf.
Very made. Like every time he's just made idiotic decisions. Like in the heat of battle, he's made bad decisions. In terms of Theo, he's made a bad decision, and in terms of the hilt, he's made a bad decision.
For someone who's meant to be a soldier, he's not that well equipped. He's not very good at fighting either. He's okay.
Yeah.
To be fair, we see a better battle stance when he's in the trenches tied up with a chain. That was a better fight scene, I thought, than what we saw here. My cons. I mean, at this point, I'm just nitpicking because it's just like that.
Give us one major
con. The main one was like
what's funny? Is you're struggling for a con at the moment. which is kind of
struggling for a con.
It's an indication you like this episode.
No. No.
I won't have it. I didn't like this episode. Okay, go on, give us a con.
No, I'm trying not to. I mean, it's an abomination of a series, an episode, because of the plot holes in it. But I'm trying not to do it from the lore. I'm trying to say, okay, as a the main thing was the time jump thing. It moved too slow, then it moves really fast, and it's just like there's no consistency there. That's one. The slow response element was it. I just didn't understand why they left the keep. I get that it would have taken out some of the people, but you just going to a really poorly defended area.
Open plan.
Open area. One, actually thinking about that, one con, there was so much of it was anticlimactic because we saw this army, this kind of like worm snake army going up the hill, thinking, okay, no, obviously these people are not as trained, the civilians are not trained as much, so we might get a decent battle on the hill kind of thing, but we didn't get that, so it was a bit anticlimactic. I thought that was a bit, I mean, we did get a battle at the bottom of the hill, which is,
but you just didn't get one at the top with the tower.
Yeah, I wanted something a bit like, like it would have been nice if they had put up a little bit of a fight and then they broke in and then they got away kind of thing.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Also orcs can smell man flesh. They can smell that.
That's a good point.
They didn't smell anything up there, which is why they didn't find anyone. But surely on the way up, you would have figured out that, hang on, I can smell something down there. I mean, I don't know how far they were. So there is a plot hole. But yeah. I mean,
okay, so from that we can gather that Sean was upset that his favorite tower was destroyed. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. What did you think of this episode? But other than that, please like, share, subscribe, click on the notification bell, and we'll see you in the next one. See ya.